Here's the starter solenoid on the bench. It looks to be in pretty nice condition. I've just given it a wipe down. I think the coil is working because we're hearing the click, but it seems like it might not be carrying the heavy current to the starter. So I'm gonna put it in the vise and see if I can just do a couple of rudimentary tests. This is just a simple test, first of all, to check that the coil's working, and I'm sure it is, right, because I've heard it click 1,000 times. So it's in the vise. I've got the ground wire connected to the battery ground, and then we've got the live wire. We're going to click it on the S, the signal terminal, and hear it click, hopefully. I think this is the simplest way I can do this. I've got the solenoid connected to the battery. So I've got the ground, in this case the negative, because it's just standalone, negative to the frame of the solenoid. And then I've got positive or power to the power terminal. This is the terminal where it would come from the battery on the bike with the boot over it. And then I'm just going to put a test lamp. The test lamp, again, it's got a ground there, and I'm just going to test that the power is going to the power terminal, and there we have a light. So that's working. What we want to try and do now is test that when I click this signal switch with 12 volts, when I touch that with 12 volts again, it will jump from that terminal to that terminal. So we should see a light here. So I'm going to first of all connect another wire to the battery, positive, power, and then I can do that thing where it triggers the coil. Okay, so that's the coil triggering, and we know we've got power here because we just did that. Now I've got the test light here, and we're going to see if it lights up. This is the conclusive test to tell whether or not it's passing current. And it is. So that tells us this solenoid is good. Okay, so what else have we got? I mean, maybe it's that battery. I'll charge up the battery. I'm going to clean all these terminals, all the connection points, and see if it's that. It's just going on and on and on, isn't it? That will be the next point, making sure that we have a really good solid ground from these connections here. All the terminals are clean, and then we'll try again. Okay, well, I've got everything detached. I'm going to try one more time. I got the positive ground here, got the wires to the starter motor, really good earth in my opinion. Let's just see if it will turn over. It will not. I've taken the plugs out. I'm just thinking it may be just the weak motor. It may be just not strong enough to even turn the engine. So I'm going to try that again. Nada. Nothing. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the motor's had it, or maybe I'm going to try over the other side and give it a little bit of a kickstart to see if I can turn the engine over to give it a little help. Let's try that again. Completely dead now. Doesn't even spark. I'm sorry guys, I thought I'd have it done by now, but I'm going to take that motor out again and take it apart, see if I can find anything. And we're not even getting a spark now. Just in case you're wondering, this is reading 12.5 volts. Okay, we're back again at the bench. The starter motor's out. It's in the vise. It only takes just a couple of minutes to get it out of the bike, so dead simple really. We've got the ground, the positive ground connected to here. I've just put a little spacer in just as before, and then, oh, that was a little, did you feel that then? That was a little tight. It felt a little tight. I suspect it might just be too weak to turn that honking big engine. Anyway, here's the power wire. I'm going to touch it on that. Oh, it's dead. Something's kaput with either the motor or the wires. I'll try different wires. Let me just try one wire first. This is the power wire. Let's connect it to that, just in case it's one wire. And then this. Nothing. Okay, let's try these two smaller gauge wires just to see if it's the wires. Well guys, what does that mean? Is it the blooming wires? Put the old wire on. Please tell me it's not the ground wire. Original positive ground, new power, smaller gauge granted. Oh, what the heck is going on? Oh, I got turned around now. What the heck is it? Well, maybe it just cranked it into life. I don't know. It seemed like when I used these smaller gauge wires, it like flashed it almost. Original wires. Oh, something happened there. There was a distinct clunk, wasn't there? Did you hear that? And then it just stopped. Let me try the other wire. Oh yeah, it's like it shut down. Okay, now let me feel if that, yeah, that's like stuck. Let me just get a little closer. Yeah, so that's like stuck there. If I just, yeah, it took quite a bit of force there to move that, but what was that distinct clunk? Okay, so now that I've moved it, it's a little stiff, I must admit. Now that I'm moving that, see if that now works. If it does, it's the motor. No, it didn't. Okay, one more go before I start trying to take this apart. I can't stop myself now. We have got power on here. And if this is a no-go, it's definitely a motor. Goodness. I think I'm going to get new wires ordered in addition to taking this apart. I've ordered new wires now, and as you can see, there is some damage. Quite a lot of corrosion there. This is the wire that goes between the battery and the solenoid. You can tell there's been a lot of damage there in the past. I think I could actually just snap that easily if I wanted to. And then this one here, I did cut the terminal off the plastic piece here, but that's got also a lot of corrosion there. In fact, the connector, the lug, it just came off. And then here there's some damage where the wire has got split, it's exposed wires, and then here it's just a little bit, but I'd covered that up as well. But just get rid of these. I have ordered new wires, so they should be coming shortly, and new boots as well. I know you can buy a kit. It's quite expensive actually, so I've got some coming from the USA. So the next step now will be to disassemble this starter motor. Yikes. That is the 4 brush conversion. So I'll take that other cap off, clean this all up and see if we can figure out what's going wrong. Oh boy. That's the starter motor apart for now. I'm just going to give this a really good clean up and see if I can inspect it. Here's the starter motor disassembled on the bench, and I've given it a really good clean, but I have noticed a few problems, but I'll just go through those in a second. Starting at this end, it's running on a bushing and not a bearing as I thought perhaps. That thrust washer is also a bit worn and the seal needs to be replaced. Here, unfortunately, that was one of the biggest problems there. They're loose. Let me just show you there. You can actually see them moving. And then I'll come back to inside the casing in a second. The brush plate, if it's what it's called, that looks great. Again, the casing got some damaged wires. The cap at the end is just fine, but again, it runs on a bush, not a bearing. Springs are okay. All the insulation was just perished. It was just in terrible state, actually. So I took that all out. And then just looking at the way that the armature fits into the bushings, got the thrust washer in there. And this one here, it's quite wobbly. So that might be a problem. That's one side. And then the other side, got another thrust washer there. There's the bush that goes in the cap. That just falls into the cap. And it's a nice fit. Spins nicely, but again, that moved. I know it's stabilised by these through the casing, but that's quite a lot of movement. I cleaned in there thoroughly. Having said that, it's still a bit rough, and there's an exposed wire just there. And then on the inside, of course, all the insulation for the windings has gone. The brushes themselves seem quite good, actually quite solid, and I've cleaned them up, but the sleeves around the brush wires are in a pretty bad state. For example, you can see that the wire is exposed. Here's the armature on the bench, and I'm certain this is the main reason for the problems with the starter motor. Plus the cables. I've replaced the cables already, I'll show you those later, but these 6 lamination plates have all separated. Each one of them is separate. It's not like they're in a block of 6 off to one side. And I'm certain that this is what's causing the intermittent shorts with the starter motor that prevents it from working. So thanks very much to my friend Jeff for his advice with this, but if I attach the negative wire to the shaft and then a test lamp that I've just made up, 12 volt test lamp to the commutator, that should not happen. That should be isolated, and that's shorting out there. And see if I can simulate what it should be like by just pulling in these plates together. So they shall all be connected. Squeezing them in as much as I can without touching them, and then hopefully that'll hold. It might not work. Yeah. There, doing this earlier, the light didn't go on. So here, for example, the light isn't going on, but if I just pull that just to separate those plates, maybe. There, you see, there's your intermittent short right there by separating those lamination plates. I don't know if you can see that, there's a spark there. I've looked at potentially trying to rebond those with some resin. I just don't think it's possible, so I've put a few inquiries out to see if we can get a new or a second-hand armature. Good morning, it's been several days later. I just thought I'd show you I've got the new wires, the new cables. I got these on Amazon and I'll send you a link, and then I bought a packet of these boots. They're a little tight, but they should work just fine. And then, of course, I've been deliberating about what I'm going to do with this armature. I've even thought of possibly trying to repair it, or getting it repaired as well. But even myself, you know, possibly trying to sort of impregnate these laminations with some varnish. But then in the meantime, I thought, well, I'll ask around and see if anyone's got an armature off an old starter motor. So sent an email out to our club members, and I've contacted a few of our local dealers as well. And would you believe it, a very kind gentleman called Kevin down in southern Oregon said, hey, I've got something you might be interested in, and he sent me this. So I can't tell you how grateful I am, Kevin. This is the starter motor that was in his Mark III. He bought his Mark III brand new in 1975-76, and he has taken this out obviously over the years, and he's replaced it with a Colorado Norton Works starter motor and all the kit and caboodle on his bike. Actually, it's a beautiful bike. So he very kindly offered to send this to me, and so it's literally just arrived a few minutes ago, and so it looks like it might be a little seized. So I'm going to take this apart, and hopefully between the two of them we can make a starter that actually starts. So let's just take this apart. If I can. Okay, that's going in the vise. They were tight, actually a bit rusty. Uh-oh. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Also a little rusty, so we'll see. Yikes. Oh boy. We will see. Oh gosh. There's the wave washer. I think the tide's out on that wave washer. Oh gosh, it just broke. So let's see if we can knock this out that way instead. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh gosh. I don't think I can use that. I'm not sure. Let's... Oh goodness. I mean, it's possible. I'll do some tests on it, but yikes. Okay, here are the armatures on the bench. This is Sam's original one. It's got the loose lamination plates here. Ironically, it's actually in nicer condition, especially on the shafts, because it was so covered in oil. So this is the other unit. I've cleaned it up. Unfortunately, the shafts here, they're quite badly pitted. So we will see how that spins inside the casing and the bushings. But this is, I guess, it's just somewhat temporary anyway. So we're just going to see if this works for a start. So first of all, I'm going to hook up the positive to the shaft. And then negative, we want to touch this commutator and see if the light goes on. It should not go on. So that's good. That's very good in spite of the condition of it. And then if we touch the shaft, of course. So I'm going to try it. What the heck? Let's go for it, even if it just gives some temporary support while Sam thinks about what the long-term solution is. A plug and play motor, for example, I think is $300 and something. It's one of those Dino Dave units that I would probably recommend. I'm just in the process of putting the brushes back together. I put a little bit of insulation in the cap, and especially around these pillars as well, which fit in between these brush holders. And then I've just held them back with some safety wire for now, just so that I can get that armature shaft and the commutator up through the centre in a few minutes. This is a bit tricky. I think what it is, there's really not a lot of space in here. So even the insulation has got to be as thin as possible, just so that everything fits in here. There we are. This is just to hold it back. The brush while I put that armature through, and then I'll snip them off. Everything's super tight in there. Even with that safety wire, it's not enough. Need to kind of push it back with a screwdriver. Even that cap is tight on there as well. I think what I'll do is I'll put the other end on, just temporarily, just to hold it so it doesn't slip out. With it having this 4-brush upgrade, there's very little real estate in there for the cap to go on. Reminds me of getting my crowns fitted. It's the least pleasant part. Okay, here's the starter motor back together. I put a little bit of grease on those shafts, hopefully to make it work. And here goes. Well, that sounds powerful, maybe more powerful than the previous one. So let me stick it back on the bike and see if we get this bike started. I can't wait a moment longer. Just put a little bit of fuel in the tank. It's a little rainy, but hopefully this will not be a dreary outcome. So I'm going to tickle the carburetors, give it a couple of cold kicks, and then try and press this button. Wish me luck. It's something. I'll take it. Oh, that makes me so happy. Now we can take it for a ride when this weather improves and deal with the thing that we started off trying to fix in the first place, the carburetors and the master cylinder.